let's dive on in, man. We're talking the AFC West, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think we might, as Drake would say, start from the bottom. And now we're here.
So you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting with the bottom of the barrel, and if you don't know, you know now. It is the Denver Broncos, led by
Oof.
Russell Jackson, Westbrook Wilson Jr., and his wife Sierra, which is the best thing to happen to Denver, like I said, in the last 15 years. Amen and amen.
Yeah, that and legalizing stuff I thought was a pretty good move for Denver. So shout out to
Oh
them
yeah.
for that.
Shout out to y'all for that. Paving the way on that other thing. Um, let's get right on into it. I'm gonna even include this last preseason game versus the Rams. That's an L starting off. But let's go let's go ahead and jump on into the season. And game one for them is what we call from champion from the kingdom, from high upon the mountain when we look down. We call this the bottom of the barrel bowl. We got
Oof.
the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. And of course, if anybody had a brain, you know that the Raiders are going to win this game. There's just no way Denver wins. It's the Broncos. Um, just a terrible situation, terrible team, terrible timing. I think they need more. They know they need more. They wasn't able to acquire more via the draft. I like the Raiders in this one, pending Jimmy G. Pending
Right.
Jimmy G. You might hear me say that a lot tonight, ladies and gentlemen, pending Jimmy G. But, like I said previously, pending Jimmy G. Mr. KC, who you got?
Actually, looking at this game, I think this is more of a statement game for Sean Payton than anything else in the Denver Broncos. And I'm actually going to go with the Broncos on this week one Raiders matchup at home. No Derek Carr. Give me Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos versus Raiders. I can't believe I'm saying that, but that's the
I
way
can't
I'm going.
believe it either. I can't believe it either. But fortunately, folks, I got you covered here, and I'm still in reality for now. Uh, we got the Raiders winning this game week one. Week two, we're moving on September 17th. The Washington Commanders versus the Denver Broncos. And this is another L for the Broncos. They start off the season 0-2, losing to the Raiders and then losing to a freshly led Commander team that's going to be high octane thanks to all the Andy Reid knowledge passed down to be enemy. We're going to see something special.
And I'm actually going to disagree here and give the win to the Broncos. I'm not high on the Commanders this year. I think we're going to see more of a regression. And I think this is going to have a lot of Broncos fans delusional after week two because we're now sitting at 2-0, according to me.
I'm kind of delusional now. How do you see regression happening with these commanders? We got
I
to talk
just
about
don't like
that.
the quarterback situation
What
at
do you mean?
all.
The quarterback situation that beat Buffalo. It's all the same.
No, it's changed up. It's changed up. No Heineke, none of that. No Wentz. Nothing to impress me. They do have Scary Terry, which is my my. I believe he's the most underrated wide receiver in the league. But you got to have a quarterback to throw it to him.
Okay, we're definitely gonna see on that one. I'm going with the Commanders for sure. I think they got more than enough to beat the Broncos because it's the Denver Broncos. The Broncos didn't do nothing to get better, so that means the
Not
Commanders are
much.
still coming in not worse than them. So we'll see what happens there. Next game we got the Denver Broncos versus the Miami Dolphins, and I got the Broncos moving to 0-3 here. They're not going to beat Miami, and it doesn't matter who's the quarterback in Miami because they just don't have enough to beat them. Mr. KC, who do you got in this game?
Well, I'm going with the Finns for the win. This will be the first loss on the Broncos schedule for me, and I think we have a few coming up.
Ooh, they got more than a few. They already 0-3, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know. We seeing it unfold here. Uh,
Mm.
the next game we got on the slate for them, the Denver Broncos versus the Chicago Bears. And I'm sorry, Denver, you moved to 0-4 here. And it's not a slight on your team and on your coach or nothing. It's just the better quarterback will win. Justin Fields is going to step up tremendously. There's more talent now, dude. If y'all don't think Chicago's going to be better this year, you're sleeping. Chicago.
Yeah, yeah, I'm actually right there with you. I think people are sleeping on the rebuild of the Bears and how quickly they're going to put that team back together. And I'm also going to go with the Bears in week 4.
Yes, sir. And so, I mean, with all disrespect, Denver, I mean, y'all 0-4 is your future. I mean, if you were just better, you'd be better. Moving on to week 5, it's another L. You got to play Aaron and the Jets. Like I said, it doesn't get better for you guys. It doesn't start well and it doesn't get better. I got the Jets winning this game handedly. Like I don't even think this is a conversation to be had. Mr. Casey, tell him why Aaron is winning this game.
Well, this is what you would call an early season lock. This is one of those games you would happily bet the money line and take the free money because it's just Aaron Rodgers is not only the better quarterback, he probably has better talent around him than what the Denver Broncos is. It's often
Yeah.
overlooked that they don't have a 1,000-yard receiver, even though the receivers are paid. And I think you might see that with the Jets. You might see one or two of them.
And I don't doubt it either. You know, I got them finishing second in the East wild card. They're going to be a special team. Uh, the next week for Denver, you move to 0-6. You play the defending Super Bowl champions, your father. You play your father. Daddy's coming. He's coming to
Mm.
make sure the room is clean. And if it ain't, he's going to whoop you anyway because that's just what he does. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. We might as well move on to next week unless you want to touch on it because I know where you're going. This.
Next week is the Packers versus the Broncos. um,
Oh
this
man.
is a much more interesting game because you actually have two bottom barrel teams. And
Exactly.
while I am not high on the Broncos this season, one of the few teams you could see me talk more poop about would be the Green Bay Packers. So I'm actually going to give the win here to the Denver Broncos, putting them at 3-4 on my books.
And I'm actually going to give them the win as well here. This is their first win on the season here. So they'll be 1-6 at this point. Finally get a win on the board. Feel good for a weekend because next week you play the champions again, and that's another L right up on your head. I'm so sorry, but Denver is just the way it goes.
And
I'm so sorry.
the fun fact for the day is Pat Mahomes has never lost to the Denver Broncos in the history
Never,
of ever. There is
never.
not a Denver Broncos that played for the Broncos that have beat the Chiefs. The only person on the roster that's probably got that claim is Russell Wilson, like 4 years ago. So
Right.
we're kind of running out of players that have ever even dreamed
And
of
we
it.
all know Pete Carroll won that game.
That ain't no lie. It's becoming more evident every day.
Okay, ladies. So Denver, you're at 1-7 at this point, and unfortunately, because you're that trash, you're moving to 1-8 because you're going to play the Bills, and that's one of their 5 wins on the season. So they're definitely going to take you out. I got you at 1-8 at this point. Mr. KC, who you got going into this game?
Oh, I'm definitely going with the Bills. This is the Bills by a landslide. This should be an easy game. Nice
Should be.
midseason game for the Bills.
And then the very next week, Denver, and I'm sorry once again. I'm really not sorry, but it's just what it is. You're gonna take another L to Kirk Cousin and the Vikings. It's it's just what it is, man. I'm just so sorry. Justin Jefferson probably have a career day on these guys.
Mm.
It'll be something tragic. But luckily for you guys in Denver, the very next week. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Casey. Who you got in the Viking game? I'm sorry, I didn't even ask.
Oh no, you had
I
that
just
correct.
assumed that. Okay,
You
thank
had it correct. Yeah.
you. Okay.
You're
So
fine.
sorry. Right. Okay. Thank you, sir.
You-
Thank you, sir. You're fine. The very next week, though, Denver, rejoice, be happy, because like I said, if you couldn't play yourselves, this is the team you want to play to get a win, and it's the Cleveland Browns. I got the Denver Broncos beating the Browns in this game, moving on to 2-10 on the season, get another win on the books.
And I'd agree with that. I don't think the Browns have done anything in the offseason to impress me at all. So I'm going to lean towards the Broncos. Slightly better coaching, similar quarterbacks, maybe a better roster, better defense for the Broncos. So let's
For
lean on the
sure.
defense.
Right. And then the very next week, we have the Denver Broncos versus the Houston Texans. And of course, we got the Texans winning this game. Well, at least I do. Um, it's better quarterback play. Like I said, we got the situation. It's a rookie statement game. You beat up the old heads while you collect a couple wins. You got talent around you. We got a better defense, in my opinion, a younger one. We're going Houston on this game.
And I'm actually going to lean towards the Broncos. I think the Texans have improved greatly, but I think they are still slightly in that rebuilding mode. And I believe they're still a year out. I'm going to lean on the Broncos for that one.
Okay. So right now, I have Denver sitting at 2-11, which is more than likely going to be what it is because they're going to end up giving another one of them first round picks they traded off uh, back to Seattle for some more super talent. Um, we got them facing next here the Los Angeles Chargers, and even though it's the Chargers late in the season when I would usually pick against them, they're playing Denver. So they're probably going to win. They're going to at least split. So I'll give them this first win. The Chargers will win this game. Broncos will move. I mean, the Broncos will win this one, and then the Chargers will win later on. So they're going to move to 3-11 for Denver, beating the
I'm actually
Chargers.
going with the Chargers on that one, and I had to erase your mark because I just assumed you were jumping on that bandwagon as well. Maybe split in the second half of the game in Denver, but going to LA Chargers, I'm going Chargers on this one.
Well, I'm just saying because LA they don't really have a fan base at home,
They don't,
so,
and I'm sure
and so
Denver
it
will
should be
actually still have more fans in
exactly.
LA.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm counting on. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if they can muster it up. Next week we got Denver versus Detroit, and I have the Lions in this game. I don't even have to think about it twice. It's the better team, better quarterback. I'm higher on Jared Goff than I am on Russell Wilson.
Rightfully so,
And he has better receiver talent.
by a
Jefferson will
mile.
be back by then. I mean, Jameson will be back by then after his little suspension. So it'll be a light show. I'm going with the Lions, moving Denver to 3-12 on the season.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I think the Lions, especially this late in the season with all their players back,
Mm-mm.
go Detroit.
Right. The next game we have December 24th, Christmas Eve, prime time. We got the Denver Broncos versus the New England Patriots. And ladies and gentlemen, you know it's no secret. The Patriots win this game. And they will probably win it easily, handedly. Denver, you're moving to 3-13 at this point.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that the Patriots have to travel to Denver, but it's not the end of the world. This is a close battle when you start talking about comparing quarterbacks, but let's not lie to ourselves. What Sean Payton is not Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick's going to outcoach the Denver Broncos, and the Patriots are trying to add things around um, Mac Jones, so they might actually do it. I'm going to go
Oh
with the
yeah.
Patriots.
Oh yeah, they got this. And then next week, this is the split I'm talking about. This is the New Year's gift to you Broncos fans. Another L coming by way of Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
Mm, could very well happen. And I think
Mhm.
I'm going Chargers over Broncos as well.
And then the very last game of the season, we got the Denver Broncos versus the Raiders again. And this is when the Raiders get the win back. They go ahead and knock off the Denver Broncos, Good night, goodbye, Denver. As usual, bottom of the barrel life.
Mm. This looks like a kind of a rough year here looking at the what we've predicted so far. I've got to say it was kind of I actually would have penciled them in for an extra win or two off of based off of what I had in my mind. I wasn't expecting a 6-11 season for me. I kind of saw the 3-14 coming for you. I truly did, but I thought 6-11 was a little light for what without looking at the schedule, I would have guessed closer to like 7 wins, 8 wins, something like that. But
Just
I've got
yeah.
6 on my board. You've got 3, and one of us is going to be right, I believe.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm digging this 3-14 because it feels right. It sounds right. Looking at the schedule, Denver likes to drop a lot of games. They don't like to win a lot. They like to lose close games too. So why not? Why not keep the tradition going?
Absolutely. And
Yes,
last week, I had imagined that the Bills fans would not be a subscriber, but we did get a subscriber off our Bills fans video. So, Denver fans, don't be afraid to like and subscribe. We don't hate you. We just like
mm,
to sweep you. It's all it is.
right.
It's
That's
okay.
it. That's it. And just acknowledge your father. That's all. Just
That's
that's
all
it.
we're asking.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not
yeah.
complex.
That's it,
And
man.
for one last moment, I'd like to yell "sweep" one more time because it's my favorite thing to do.
Right. And I will grab the dustpan to collect up the riffraff.
Ooh.